I'm going to start with Kevin. You have been a Facebook bull for a very long time. Is this one of the great buying opportunities of your lifetime, or is this something else?
Well, in a nutshell, I would say it is a buying opportunity. And so the answer is yes. And here's the way to look at it. This company's been public almost 10 years. I look at it from the point of indexing for sovereign funds and pension plans. About 8 years ago, or even 7 years ago, it became a standard in indices. So not to defend the stock or what happened in the quarter, but when you get indexed, you end up being 3 to 6% of a mandate. And you see this all over the S&P. You find Facebook in ETFs, you find it in sovereign funds, you find it everywhere, because there's really nowhere else to get an aggregation of this many billion users in one equity. Now, here's the question. After all of this last night, and I must tell you, I was on a call with some investors in Europe and very late at night in the Middle East, because sovereign funds own a lot of Facebook, and they stayed up late for this. And we were all on a Zoom call, and our phones were on mute, but they vibrate. I knew Facebook missed its numbers when I heard everybody's phone. There must have been 21, 22 people on that Zoom were buzzing. And one of them actually went to the CNBC app, and Wilf, the British guy, started talking. All around the world, we were listening to this. And so we had a discussion about what happens next. For about 80% of them, they're going to average down. You're trading just under a 17 PE. The company's missed its earnings. This is the third time in basically a decade. Every time that occurred, it was a buying opportunity. Now, if you believe that the world has ended and digital advertising doesn't matter and a billion users around the world aren't important and that geo-locked advertising is worthless, then you sell the stock here. But I don't. I use this product in my small businesses every day. And yes, this is a horrific quarter. But I'd argue, if you listen to Zuckerberg's call yesterday, he threw in every element of the kitchen sink. He really trashed his own stock. And I think it's setting up for quarters ahead where he'll overperform, hopefully. One last thought, the metaverse. Yep. By the way, you have to believe in a curated metaverse if you believe in advertising digital dollars, because I'm not going to be P&G or anybody else and stick my store beside a smoke shop or a porn shop. And that's what you're going to get in the unregulated metaverse. Zuckerberg owns the curated metaverse. That may be something to think about going forward.
Hey, Adam, you believe that that Mark Zuckerberg threw the game, through the quarter, threw everything at it here?
I don't know. I have so much to say to what Kevin just mentioned. Good morning, everyone. First of all, I think it's funny that they changed the name to Meta, which is really dead in Hebrew. But not that I think that's where they are, but I will say what I think. There's a fundamental change here to their business, which is around privacy and consumers and Apple. And that is something that I think is here to stay. And that is something we have to pay attention to. People are freaked out. They do not want to be tracked. I think as I think about my kids who are 4, when they'll be 20, they will be shocked. There used to be a time that companies monetize consumers tracking an identity. Much like to us, it's shocking that people used to smoke in flights. So I think, there's a huge opportunity for advertising in the future, especially on the back of a pandemic. We're buying more. We're used to buying from home. We're trying new things digitally. So I'm very bullish on advertising. Only I think the future will belong to companies that are mainly using context as a signal.